Welcome to episode 12 of our Galatasaray rebuild. We left off last time at the end of February in our second season. Having started the season pretty badly in the league, we'd lost our second game, and at one point we were 5 points adrift of the top. We're currently 19 points clear with 12 games left. That was largely due to a run of 14 games that we'd won in a row. We'd also qualified out of a tough Champions League group that included Juventus and Liverpool, and were drawn against Manchester United in the first knockout round. We had the first leg of that at the end of the last episode, and we picked up a good 2-0 win. As well as that, Man Utd had 2 players sent off, including Bruno Fernandes. So going into the second leg, we've got a decent chance, and we'll see that second leg in this episode. Also in this episode, we've got a big league game against Fenerbahce at the beginning of March. And then also, as it's March, we've got the youth intake, so we'll take a look at what we've got coming in and see if there's any gems coming through the youth system. So without further ado, let's get going. As we said, we'll be covering the youth intake in this episode. So just before we go too much further with the video, let's have a look at the what we were told the youth intake would be. I mean, looking at it, it says it's a good intake, 3.5 stars. A good group of players coming through, but there's 2 A's, the rest are E's or no grade. So we've got potentially a decent goalkeeper, potentially 2 decent defensive midfielders, and then not an awful lot elsewhere. So obviously, as we go through this episode, we'll see the intake, and we'll compare how that matches up to this projection, and see what we actually do get through in the intake. Okay, so going into the Fenerbahce game, we've got a bit of a problem at left back in that Van Aanholt's out injured for 2 months, and Somali is suspended for this game. So I think what we're probably going to end up doing is moving Turek to play left wing back, and starting Unisak Gun, particularly after the way he finished that Man Utd game. And then we don't have an awful lot of options on the bench. And I think, we don't have the registration depth to be able to put the full 10 subs on the bench. Other than that, it's pretty much a first choice team. Obviously, Victor Nelson's still struggling, so he'll probably come on at some point in the second half unless things go completely out of control. Obviously, as we're 19 points clear, it's going to take a massive failure to avoid winning the league. We just need to keep going, and hopefully the form we've been on, obviously we drew the last game against Hatayspor, but hopefully the run we've been on, we can keep the run going, pick up another 3 points, move a bit closer towards the title, and just keep rolling on. It's a home game, obviously, as well, so important to do it for the fans. I think we're struggling probably down that left-hand side a bit, but first 10 minutes, so we seem to be dominating possession. We've not really given up many chances, although we haven't created too many. And Lucas, at least he was offside, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. But we did hit the bar and post a hell of a lot in that last game against Man United. So hopefully it's not a sign of things to go. But I mean, we've got over 60% possession, and they've not had a single shot yet. So as long as we can keep it tight at the back, we should eventually be able to take a chance. Knocking it about nicely there. Not the greatest bit of play there, but we've won it back. Lovely ball. Get the ball into the box. No, keeper saved that one. It was a tight angle. It would have done well to score. We are struggling a bit fitness-wise in this game. I mean, we've had 60% possession. it's the lack of shots on target that's a concern. Let's swap those two. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. We are struggling a bit in the midfield. Let's bring Thailand on. As I said, that must be miles offside. I don't even think there'll be a need to show the VAR for that. What? I mean, even with the lines, that still looks a mile offside. But you know what? We'll take it. If we can pick up another one, that would be great, and then we can make a few substitutions just to take some of the tired players off. Surely that wasn't offside. I mean, that looked onside to me. Maybe see different from the replay. Oh yeah. Well. Yeah. Right. Let's make a few changes. Oh, obviously he's just back from injury, so I don't want to risk him too much. I'll give Victor the last 20 minutes. And let's take Luca off as well. Hopefully we don't come to regret making those changes, but I mean, we should be able to hold on. Alright, referee, blow your whistle. Not the best performance. Very, very wasteful in front of goal again. 25 shots, but only 7 on target. But you know what? The most important thing is we kept that run going, picked up the 1-0 win, and we're a step closer to retaining our title. And we'll be back shortly for the youth intake. So we've had our youth intake, and as expected, it's gone from being the 3.5-star good intake that we were promised to a 1.5-star below average intake. And obviously some of the players seem to have disappeared from this. Obviously these two must be the two defensive midfielders that we were promised as being promising. The goalkeeper we were told was an A potential. That must be him down there just as a decent talent with a half-star potential, half-star current ability and a star potential ability. And really the rest of the intake doesn't look great. We'll go in and have a quick look at them. So this first one actually looks as though playing in our system that it might be okay. The first touch obviously needs some work, but the passing, the tackling, the technique look good. The composure and the vision are potential issues that we would need to work on, but obviously he's only 16, so there's a chance to develop. The second defensive midfielder just doesn't look like he's our kind of going to fit into our system. The first touch, the passing, the technique, the vision and the composure just don't seem to gel with what we want. Looking at the other stats, if he wasn't 5'8", we'd probably make a decent centre half. But I mean, he is only 15, so there's a potential to develop as that. I think if we do keep him on, we'll probably develop him as a centre half rather than a defensive midfielder. But I don't think he's going to amount to an awful lot. And there's a chance we could play him as fullback, but I doubt it. The third defensive midfielder, again, I think it's the same situation as the first one, just doesn't fit our style of play. And then the rest of the players, it's very meh. I don't think there's an awful lot there that we would probably be looking for. The goalkeeper, I mean, he's 19 for eccentricity, if I can say that. But generally, I mean, doesn't look like he's going to develop into anything. Certainly not the Abe that we were promised in the report at the start of the when we first found out about our youth intake. We were promised an A. We've made it to the second leg of the Champions League knockout tie against Man United. Since the game against Fenerbahce, we've played 3 games. We played against Antalyaspor in the Cup. Looks like we won comfortably 5-1, but we rested players. We were winning 1-0. It was pulled back to 1-1. And then we scored 4 goals in the first half of extra time to run out 5-1 winners. And then we've had comfortable wins in the league. We have rested players to try and keep them fit for this leg. We are 19 points clear at the top of the league still as well. Now, going into this second leg, we're missing Dennis Turuk through suspension. So Yunus Akgun's come in. Probably would have come in anyway because he scored twice in the second half of the first leg. Obviously, they're missing a couple of players because of the red cards that they picked up in the first leg. And obviously, one of those is Bruno Fernandes. So that's a big miss and hopefully a big thing for us. Obviously, they're still Man United. It's still a strong squad. They're at home. I know, although we have the 2-0 advantage, I suspect that they're still favourites going into this game. And we'll just see how we go, get the game underway here, and hope that we can keep the good run going. That's a bit of a strange ball to play, but they did carve us open to get Rashford to the byline there. And they've got behind us far too easily then again. I mean, obviously that was offside, but that's a bit of a concern early on. And we're also having a lot more of the ball than we are, which you would expect, with them being the home team and the quality of their squad. But there's not many chances for either side. Obviously, I would imagine the bookings that they've had are probably a bit of a concern for them, given that they had 2 players sent off in the first leg. Oh, that was a bit of a heavy touch. I thought we were going to give the ball away a couple of times there at the back, only to pass it straight to their right back. And we're struggling again here. I mean, to be honest, I'm expecting them to score any time they go forward. We've had 3 shots on target, but obviously not very good ones because we didn't see any highlights. I mean, we're not doing too badly, but the performances, we've got problems in the poor performances in the defence, but I mean, we've got problems all over the pitch, particularly like if you look at Çikaldao, who's just been named the Player of the Year in Turkey again for the 2nd year in a row. Normally dominates games for us, and he's playing a 6.3. I think obviously we'll just leave it as it is and then see how we go on in the second half, and obviously change things if we have to at that point. I mean, we've not changed the way we're playing. Luke has got his head on it. That would have probably wrapped up the tie if we'd got that. I mean, there's not many chances for either side. They've not really troubled us too much, despite the couple of times they cut us open in the first half. I think it's probably time for a few changes just to see the game out. I think we might need to... What we'll do is try and bring on a centre half for an attacking player and just go with 5 at the back and just try and shut up shop a bit. So I think we'll probably take off Well, we're probably going to bring off both of the wide players. So I think if we take off Yunus Akgun and bring on Alpazlan in the centre of the defence, and then we'll probably bring on a midfielder and move Chicaldo just behind Lorenzo Luca. That's probably what we'll do, and obviously we'll need to change a few things in the instructions. And this is the absolute worst bit about tactics in Football Manager, is it will not, no matter what you do, what is going on? It will not, no matter what you do, allow you to slot someone. Have we got it? There we are. So I think if we, we'll take off Kerem and bring on Thailand in the centre midfield, and we'll play Chicaldo just behind the front man. And we'll keep him on a support rather than an attacking role. And we'll drop that down to positive. And we'll probably just knock the tempo down a bit and put a bit of time wasted on. And we'll leave everything else as it is, I think. I mean, we're probably inviting pressure on ourselves here, but hopefully we can see it out and nothing's happening. Let's close the game down nicely. Right, nothing stupid here. Come on, referee, surely that's full time. Let's have a look at your watch. Right. What a performance. So we've gone through 2-0 on aggregate there. Obviously, the next episode we'll have a quarter-final, and hopefully in the next episode we'll wrap up the league campaign as well.